Guru Nation, we got a special guest for you guys, Mohammed Basit Afsin. He's one of our CRA Academy graduates and one of the highest test scores we've had. Not surprisingly, he's been working. Which class were you in, Mohammed?
So yeah, COVID times. So 2020 August, I believe. Yeah, this
Ah,
is
the
some
good
time
old
back.
days. The good old days.
Yeah.
August 2020, when everyone had some downtime, and if you were smart and prepping, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do an academy, improve whatever. I don't care if it's mine or not. You're gonna improve your skills. Muhammad did that. Has been a in-house CRA now for how long?
Almost 2 years. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's right.
We're gonna get into that, the good, the bad, the ugly. His LinkedIn is underneath the video, and we're gonna talk because the next career projection, the next trajectory for the career is CRA, and that's what Muhammad wants. That's what he joined the class for. That's what he wants to do, and we're gonna have a discussion on transferable skill sets, what that means for him. A lot of the stuff you've already done as an in-house CRA, so sometimes it's
Yeah,
just the organization where you work that may not be the place where you will be the CRA. It's unfortunate, but there's a lot of turnover in this industry. But before we get into all that, man, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always good to, you know, talk to you.
And
Like
feel free to
before,
ask
I
questions too. Feel free to ask questions. We can make this an open discussion. I think it's helpful for a lot of the viewers and listeners to kind of understand what you're going through, what questions you have, because a lot of people, not just job recruiters are watching too, but not just job recruiters, but other people like you maybe in similar situation, or maybe a few jobs below, where you're at right now. Maybe they're just starting out. So feel free to keep this open. I'm not trying to make this like a strict, rigid interview. We'll just keep it free flowing.
okay. Thank you for that.
So where do we start, man? How did you find about research? What made you
Yeah, so
stumble into this industry?
yeah, so my background actually, I have an MD, so outside the U.S. So I studied interestingly in Russia. So I did my medicine there. This was a while back, 2014. I graduated. I worked in Africa for like 3 years as a medical doctor for about for pediatrics, infectious diseases, internal medicine, general surgery, orthopedics, just some of the departments for like 6 months, 8 months. Yeah, I moved to the US later on. And once I got here, I wanted to kind of expand my options and look at different career paths that kind of go in line with my medical field, with my medical
Of course.
background knowledge.
IMG's
So,
International Medical Graduates, so valuable. You can be a medical monitor if you wanted to. Eventually,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
do that.
yeah, that's an option,
I
I
love
guess.
IMGs. IMGs have so much potential. You could do medical writing, you could be medical monitor, you can do so much. But you're right. It's one step at a time. I think CRA would be very good. Um,
Mhm.
so when was this that you moved to the United States? When was it that you immigrated here?
2018,
Ah,
sometime 2018. Yeah.
2018. And then how did you stumble across this industry? Like, what was it, COVID that really got you pausing to
Yeah,
reflect on what's going on? And
yeah, I guess after or during COVID, just like everyone else in the world, everyone was having something going on and, transitioning from one place to another. So I kind of looked into that time. I started to look into the research industry, and it did look like something that would be befitting to my background medically, and, be part of research where I can make a difference.
yeah, yeah. So then you you came across the CRA, right? As the everyone kind of either CRC or CRA that just kind of come to those two jobs and realize this is what I got to do. And you ended up actually going a very common pathway, the in-house CRA. So you can kind of give us a day to day on first of all, how did you get that job? Because you were our best student that quarter, if not the best, one of the best for sure. Uh, how did you transition from the course with the internship to the job? Like, how can we talk a little bit about that? I don't want to gloss over this because this is like an arduous process.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So just around the time after I finished the course, so we started the internship, and somehow I got this interview, and I wasn't sure. I thought, okay, give it a chance, just like all these job applications. You know how it is, and yeah, it turned out that they I got interviewed by the HR first, and then they wanted to go ahead and have me interviewed by the team, the managers, and it seems like you know, they were interested, and I got hired.
Wait,
Um,
so I just said it was an arduous process, but it was really just as easy as applying and they called you back and that's it. Was it really like
yeah. Well, I mean, there was two multiple phases of interview, and um, as well as questions and answers,
mm,
lots of back and forth on particular information and details they wanted to know.
it's that
So
MD, it's that MD no matter where you're an MD, you're an MD, you're a doctor. I don't care where you got your license, you're a doctor in my book and the
yeah,
employers look the same way. Like this is a person who can grow with us. What kind of company is it? If you don't mind sharing.
yeah, yeah. I do want to mention though, to give credit to the CRA Academy, because obviously, the only reason uh, credit where it's due is where I am right now is mainly, in my opinion, because of the experience and the course that I did in CRA Academy with you and Chris, and if I remember some other Vincent. I think Vincent. I'm not sure.
Oh, you were back in the
Yeah,
days with Vincent. Shout out to
yeah,
Vincent, man. I gotta text him. Oh man,
yeah.
I remember. You're bringing me back now.
Yeah, because I mean, as much as yeah, I do have an MD, and yes, it does. I do have that background and medical knowledge. It does help me. However, it's a different industry, and I have to learn the process and how things work in this new industry, and that requires some kind of exposure. And I felt during my time with in this course, and also during the interview, I had questions about this job, and I was able to answer those questions only because I understood the industry
Wow.
from the course. Yeah,
So in the
that's
interview, they asked you like specific things, like what did you do? They probably saw your internship, so they probably asked you something about it. Like, what did you do at this during this internship? Did they ask you like that granular, or was it more like macro overview of the
yeah. It wasn't
concepts?
very granular, but they did ask questions like example, like what kind of systems you use. So I was able to answer that. If I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't be able to say anything at all. So that was something that I could answer, as much as understanding the holistic view of the industry, the research industry, how it works, what phases are there in the study, in the system, and just really understanding a holistic understanding helped me to answer some general questions in the interview.
Wow, thank you for that huge plug for the academy. I think being an international medical graduate has a lot to do with it. I know for me when I'm in charge of hiring also for coordinators, but same thing. I actually think IMG is even better for coordinator than in-house CRA because you're actually dealing with patients at the site level. Like you're side by side, you're reading the lab reports with the PI, so you're right here, and you
Mm.
guys are both physicians, so you can discuss, like, have intelligent conversation. So that would have been an interesting pathway had you taken it. But your career is young; you can always take that route too. But CRA has been your goal since day one, right? CRA,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wanted to always be a CRA, be more involved in the, in the with the in the site with the sites, interact with the sites, and yeah.
and you're doing a lot of that with as an in-house CRA too, though.
Yeah, 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 definitely. And there's a lot of positive to it. However, it is obviously restricted to a certain extent, because we are kind of in the backside more than like the monitors. They get to go to the sites and conduct the visits. Now we have visits that are happening on site sometimes,
Yeah.
um, as well as remote. So that gives them that exposure and experience. And personally, I feel like I want to be at that front end
Yeah.
rather than in the back end. Yeah,
I think you'd make a good, really good monitor, especially being IMG. There's two people you can't BS as a site as your monitor. It's a RN CRA and it's a IMG CRA. Like those people, you cannot BS. They know medical stuff better than you do as a coordinator, and you can't just try to argue your way around inclusion, exclusion, or clinically significant or not because you guys.
yeah,
I mean, that's your education. That's what you've been trained on. So, I think you would make a really good CRA. Can you walk me through what's like a day in the life of for you, like an in-house
yeah.
CRA?
So currently, I mean, working as an in-house CRA, I do work hybrid right now. So I do work 2 times well, obviously at the time of COVID for about a year. We all worked remote until everyone was slowly transitioned back into the office. So some companies obviously full-time back, or some companies hybrid. So our company, we're doing hybrid. So we go to the office on Tuesday and Thursdays, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday work from home. So which is, I think, not too bad. um, I don't live too far from the office, so that does play to an advantage for me. Some people live really far, like in DC, and um, that can be a hard commute sometimes with the traffic and everything. So yeah, generally that it's more we work more remote as it is. We have meetings, team meetings. We have meetings with different departments of our company. So we have like in-house CRAs have a team. We work with monitors that have their team. We have meetings with them. We work with them, and sometimes we have audits and everything else. So we just work together as a team, coordinate, try to make things efficient and get things done in a timely manner. Because in this industry, obviously, the most important thing is it's research data. So we obviously want everything to be accurate and double checked. So there's a good trace of everything, of all the research data.
Are you involved on regulatory and like source type of things, or are you mostly like on the regulatory side, or you just mixed with a kind of like with everything on a particular trial?
No, so we have different departments. So I work mostly with, you could say, kind of a sidekick for the monitor, if you want to put it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
So we do source we do regulatory, like that essential, mostly essential regulatory document reviews. Make sure those are very well quality checked before we send it over to the monitors, and they can pile up or compile um, the reports, monitoring reports.
Hmm.
So we work as a team on that mostly.
Ah, okay. Can it
Yeah.
just for the people watching? Can you give an idea of what's essential document?
Right, right. So essential regulatory documents for research for different sites and for any clinical trial to take place or be conducted under GCP, ICH GCP regulations, and under those regulations, they require certain they require certain documents, and that are essential for for research staff for that site, for um, for tracking of staff, training, data management of all their records, of their CVs. 1572 is
A
obviously
lot of
the
stuff,
major.
a lot.
Yeah.
How many studies are you in charge of? And just so we get an idea, how many studies and how many sites approximately for you?
Yeah. So we work for a lot of protocols. We work under a lot of different protocols, and I couldn't exactly give a number, but since I work for two different projects, so it's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of numbers. We just multitask what we
Like more
can,
than
and
10? More than 10 studies?
yeah, for sure, more than 10
More
studies.
whoa, more than 50?
No, not 50. As a individual, maybe less than 50, but sometimes could be like 20, 25, maybe.
It's
Yeah,
still a lot. That's a lot. And then on average,
yeah.
how many sites per study do you think?
Uh, Interestingly, for example, for the cancer research study, there are few sites for each protocol, but for infectious diseases, there are different sites, external sites, international sites for different protocols. So it varies. It's different, but maybe like two, three sites per protocol, perhaps.
Oh, that's not too bad. We
Yeah.
do at my site, we do like outpatient studies, internal med, derm, psych, cardio, those type of
Hmm.
studies, phase 2 and 3, sometimes phase 1. We're usually like one of 30 sites. On one study right now, we're one of like 100 sites. So
Oh
that's
wow.
these are like big study. Like this one in particular is a big phase 3. I went to the investigator meeting in Dallas. Oh my God. There was just so many people. Like they filled up that conference room. It
Yeah.
probably like 800 people were there. It's like a lot of people there.
Wow.
Have you gone when you're CRA, you'll go to investigator meetings.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of excited for that.
They
Yeah, that's
make you
something I look
go.
forward
I interviewed a few well, another student. I interviewed from this CRA this investigator meeting in Dallas that I went to. He's a good dude. I actually I should connect you with him.
to.
I
Hmm.
think there'll be some magic there because I think he will. See, so networking is the way you got to do it. You don't need to mention the company if you don't want to, but what kind of company do you work for? Is it a sponsor, a CRO? What is it? Uh,
It's a CRO, so we contract NIH.
so it's only NIH contracting.
Mostly NIH contracting.
That would make a lot of sense. Uh, in my opinion, and obviously you took the job that you got. That's a very good thing. You should get to industry sponsored trials quickly, as quick as you can, because the longer you stay in the NIH role, um, there tends to be like this view that academia research is different than private industry sponsored research. But from everything you described, it sounds exactly like what we're dealing with as well. So I think you're at the point where you should start looking at industry sponsored trial unless you can get that CRA role internally. Have you asked any of your HR or line manager or anything like that if you can do like CRA work with them?
I haven't really explored that option, to be honest, within
Okay.
the company that I work for. So yeah, I'm just looking at different options around whatever works best for me.
I think you should, since you're already there and you're clearly someone they don't want to lose. It wouldn't hurt to bring it
Yeah,
up, and they're probably losing CRAs too, just like all the other CROs. I mean, CRA turnover is real. Like the way you give
yeah,
yourself a raise in this industry is you switch companies. That's the way you give yourself a raise, and it's the industry's worst kept secret. Um, so they're probably losing CRAs just like everyone else, and they probably need to fill those gaps. And that's the first place I would turn to, and then I would do that for 2 or 3 years, and then maybe look at industry sponsored trials like some of the other CROs out there, the bigger ones, the ones that contract with private industry sponsors. Because NIH is good, like that's rigorous studies right there. But there's a whole
yeah.
nother world on the industry sponsored side, which I mean that's where I'm in. I'm not
Mhm.
in. I don't think I've ever done even one NIH funded trial. I might have done one as a CRA. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same thing, same concepts. But there tends to be a stigma around academic research versus private industry sponsored. And you're right on that. You're not fully in academia because you work for a private CRO. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing for you. If you worked at like a Johns Hopkins
Hmm.
or like Harvard or Stanford, I would tell you get out while you can. You don't want to stay there too long because then the
Hmm.
other CROs stop looking at you as a good candidate because you've been there too long. But where you are, I think it's actually a decent environment because it's kind of the best of both worlds. Too. You're in a private CRO, so you're working on like a private company, but you're also working on NIH grants, and it's the same rigor and all the fundamentals are the same as private industry sponsored trials. So I think
Yeah.
that those are like two of the options you should do. Networking, like network like crazy, man. You should
Mhm.
be going to the ACRP and the SOCRA meetups.
Yeah.
You should come to SOS conference. Are you well, it's very short notice, but are you aware of like our SOS conference? Um Save our sites. You got a network. February 2nd,
Uh, February 2nd.
February
Not
1st and
particular.
2nd. Can you get those days off or no?
I could, yeah, perhaps.
Let me call Fox because we might have a live hold on,
Mhm.
we might have a live good news for you.
Sure, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're calling Dr. Daniel Fox live. That's another guy. You need to get to know this guy. I'll connect you with him and I'll
Yeah.
connect you with
Hello.
Dr. Fox. You are live on my podcast right now. We're calling you impromptu. No pressure, but I wanted to ask you I have one of my former students on who's an in-house CRA. Are
Okay.
we all out of the scholarships for the travel and the hotel? Or do we have any rooms
Yes.
left?
So they're gone. They well, okay, so I have to think about that. You got me on the spot here. We can figure something out.
We'll figure something out. I like that, Dr. Fox. Okay, that's all I need to know. I'm gonna get back to the interview, right?
Hey, have fun at the interview. Thanks.
Everybody go follow Dr. Fox. Thank you, Dr. Fox. We'll work something out. So we'll get you there.
Sure.
But even if you don't come to this one, which I think we can, like ACRP local meetups, especially in your area. So Washington, DC, Maryland, Virginia, that DMV area. That I think
Yeah.
there are like multiple ACRP or SOCRA local meetups. This is where you network. I think LinkedIn is something you need to be using regularly. Um, I will connect
Yeah.
you with two people I can think of right now. Dr. Fox is one, and another one who I interviewed at the at the investigator meeting. And then there's actually a really good recruiter, James Fowl, a job recruiter. And you're perfect because you have the
Mhm.
experience, you know. So networking, no matter what, always. But I would start with where you currently are and ask them. Just tell them, "Hey, I want to be a CRA. Like, what can I do?" They probably know. They must know. Didn't they ask you in the interview? They probably know that already.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, this was a while back, like more than 2 years ago. Um,
If you don't
yeah,
ask, they're like, "Yeah, he's content being in-house CRA." You got to ask, and they'll do it. Especially the good
yeah,
employees, they want to keep them.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
And the skill set you already have it because being an in-house CRA sometimes it's even harder than being a CRA. I mean, you're keeping
Yeah.
track of like what 25 studies and then multiple, even if it's just two sites. If those are two big academic medical centers, they have like 50 staff that you have to keep
Oh yeah.
track of delegation logs, training log, all this stuff. Like it's not easy stuff. So you already have transferable skill set.
Oh yeah, yeah. We deal with like delegation logs and all that all the time. Like that's like our bread and breakfast, you know. So yeah, but we have a good team. We have a good team, so everyone takes on as much as they can. So it kind of helps.
Yeah.
Having a good team really helps. I think.
It sounds like a good CRO that you're at, and it could
Yeah.
just be a matter of asking them to, you know, become a CRA. And they might be able to do it within 3 months or right away.
Yeah, it's an option.
And as an IMG, International Medical Grad, you can even become medical monitor at some point. Um, these studies are international. I interviewed uh, an MD from Mexico actually who moved to the United States, moved back to California. She was actually an American from San Francisco that went to
Yeah.
medical school in Mexico and then moved back, became a CRC, CRA, and then a
Oh
medical
wow.
monitor. So now she's a medical monitor. I could connect you with her as well. Um, Man, I'm just gonna connect you with like a few people, like maybe these four people now that I'll connect you with because I really think the
Yeah.
missing piece is just the networking. Do you do much networking or not too much?
I do. I do. LinkedIn, like you said, yeah, LinkedIn. I do use it as much as possible. Not every day, but everywhere here and there. I try
What
to
do you
make
do? What do you do on there? Like, do you comment or?
mostly. I think like I try to subscribe to different like groups, and get updates and notifications of what's happening, what openings are there. You know, mostly that, and apply for jobs basically. To be honest, I just apply. I look at the requirements and everything and apply. And if you get
Ah,
it, you get it. That's how it
if
is.
yeah, yeah, no, no, that's fine. And this industry, look, you're a young dude. I mean, this industry is very big. Super good that you got your start, but there is so much left for you to figure out here, myself included. I've been doing this 19 years now, but I'm still
Yeah.
scratching the surface of a lot of the things that I want to do in this space. So I take my own
uh,
medicine too, networking and stuff like that. It's the same game for everybody.
yeah.
But how do you like being in-house CRA? You like it?
It's good. It's good. It's definitely good. It does requires a very um focused type of work. So you have to kind of zone out in your work. No distractions. If you have like some noise canceling headphones or something, those are helpful. Actually, what I do is I use binaural beats. I don't know if you heard of that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah. There is studies that have shown that. Well, studies people have expressed um, that it does help, like with focusing. So I've tried to use that, and it does help. So you have to really zone out, and you need like really good focus. Otherwise, it is demanding, but it's good. You can relax, be flexible. So I guess in that way, it's good.
What's the hardest part to focus on, like from recent memory, maybe? Like just some of the things that are like tough to focus and you just need all your concentration. Because a lot of the work we can do
Yeah.
it while we're distracted. But then there are, like you said, some work that requires deep focus. And then we have to kind of
Right.
switch back and forth. Like, what constitutes like deep focused work for you in your particular role? Like, maybe an example of something that's like, no, this one I can't mess around with. I gotta focus.
Yeah. So one example, a good example would be like, for example, associations, like associating various documents together at the same time to be efficient. Because you don't want to write down each and every name or each and every detail on a sticky note and then go back and forth, this and that.
Mhm.
So to be efficient, you could do that, but it'll take like maybe triple the time or a couple of days, who knows. But well, obviously in the beginning, this is something that's going to take time. With time, you start to become faster and more efficient. So associating documents, delegation log 1572, protocol, you have everything opened up and trying to associate. Okay, is this here? That's not here. Okay, have this in your mind. Okay, go to something else, then
Mm.
come back to it. So I think that over time, requires very good focus, and you cannot be distracted.
Man, week 2 and week 3 of the CRA Academy right there.
Yeah,
Regulatory, site initiation, all that stuff. Yeah, we try to make it like super practical and things that you actually use in the job. You know, it's not theory; it's real stuff.
yeah.
You got any questions for myself? I'm gonna put everybody go connect with Muhammad right now. I'm gonna have his LinkedIn underneath. I'm gonna connect him to these four individuals because I think he will benefit greatly from that. We're gonna try to get you at SOS conference, all expenses paid, hotel,
Okay.
flight, everything. Hopefully, Dr. Fox comes through. If not, I'll talk to him and see what we can do. But yeah, man. What questions do you have for uh anything like that? Because if you have them, chances are
Mhm.
someone else has it as well. And maybe I don't have the
Yeah.
answer. I don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely. You kind of mentioned about the academy, how it you try to teach or show what is in the industry, what is practical, what people do every day to day, and I think that's 100% spot on because when I was in the academy, uh, I learned a lot that was definitely 100% applicable right in the job. So of course, in the job, I was learning, training, doing SOPs and all that, just like anybody else. But just that holistic approach was really good, and it gave me a very good like sight of what I'm doing actually. Because in the beginning, you might feel like, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I looking at this document? What's the how is it related to that? But if you have a holistic understanding, then you kind of know, okay, this is closeout visit. There's an IMV, there's a site initiation, so this is what's happening. So yeah, just wanted to kind of touch on that. So the
Thank you.
academy did really help with that. So yeah, regarding the trip, yeah, I would be very grateful, and it would be wonderful to travel, come make connections there, meet people, and maybe perhaps meet you as well.
Yeah,
That
of
would be good.
course. I got nowhere else to go. I have to be there. So I have to be there. But we're gonna try
Yeah,
to try to make it happen for you too. Last minute
yeah,
here, but we'll try.
yeah. Otherwise, no really questions, but yeah, thank you for having me on the podcast, and yeah, I guess hopefully things work out, and I should be getting to that CRA position.
Oh,
In due time.
CRA in due
Yeah,
to in no time. I think it should be now. And I think if you want it to happen now, it'll happen now. Uh,
yeah,
and it's just a matter of asking the right people and having conversations. And I think you're already there. Like everything you do, a CRA will do. Right? It's just
yeah.
maybe they'll go do IMP accountability and that they know maybe how to handle a deviation differently or, like training a site. But these are things
Right.
that you can pick up. This is not a rocket science.
We
Like,
did that in the academy as well. So IP
there you go.
accountability, those
More
screening.
transferable skills right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Cool.
no. You got this, Mohammed. Everybody go connect with him right now. I'm going to connect you with those 4 people. I wrote it down. And then we'll
Yeah.
try to get you to SOS, because I think the
Yeah. Thank you so
networking.
much, Dan. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
Yeah. I wish
Everybody
you
go
a good
connect.
evening.
Have a good one, Mohammed. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment, share, everybody. Bye bye.
Yeah.